Welcome, everybody. Welcome, everybody. Namaste. Welcome to this very powerful call, this Sunday Global Healing Miracle Experiment call with the Ancient Secrets community. So whether you have been participating in the calls for a long time, or this is your very first one, we have a very special experience for you today. What if even one of the ancient secrets helps you today or someone that you love to face a situation in which there's pain, in which there's suffering, in which there's fear, and to respond differently in a way in which the miracle unfolds almost instantaneously, even before the results come, your experience of the moment changes. So I love it. You know, when we started having the miracle experiment calls, we posted where you're from. Actually, first of all, if this is your first time on the call, I just want you to put yes in the chat, because I want to make sure that we welcome you, especially give you a very warm welcome. And then for everyone, I want you to go ahead and put where your name and where you're joining from, your name and where you're joining from. And then we have an opening question just to kind of engage everyone. You know, as I was thinking about this, we have such a powerful story today. First of all, I want to welcome my co-hosts on the call today. Katie, can you say hi and where you're joining from?
Hi, I'm so glad to be here. I'm joining you from Sacramento, California, where we finally had some rain.
Yeah, she told me right before the call, as we were getting the prep, that she's sitting in a different location than she planned. And can you tell why?
Well, he just got up, but my cat, who is dying, while I was meditating, came to sit in my lap. And so I made my legs an open nest and he just curled up. And I felt like, oh, I mean, I've never had a connection with a cat like I've had with Henry. And I felt like he was just fully supporting all of us in this call this morning.
Oh, that
Yeah.
is so beautiful. So beautiful. Such a blessing. Atiti Devo Baba, treat the unexpected guest as if God himself or herself has arrived. And what a beautiful omen, you know, to be loved in this way in the midst of that experience that he's in. And then Sarabjit, I want to say hello. Welcome, Sarabjit.
Namaste, everybody. I'm from California, Santa Clara, coming to you, and it's nice sunny day today. Yesterday it was raining, just as Katie said, all day, but it's a bright day today. Nice to see you all.
Oh, so good to meet you. And then we have with us a special musical guest, Vinod. Can you say hi, Vinod, and where you're joining from?
I'm joining from Bangalore, India. Namaste.
Wow, so thank you so much. We really have such a special program. I woke up so excited for this moment and also so timely. You know, I just want to see for a raise of hands, anyone who feels like in the last day or weeks or month, you've experienced some heaviness, some challenge, some transition, some trial that was, you know, you've been facing. So I can see a lot of people, you know, even I've been getting messages from a lot of people who have been facing pretty heavy things, you know, and what do we do in those moments in which we're feeling a lot of pain and maybe even feeling hopeless, you know, when the pain doesn't seem like it's going away, when it seems like it's just going to get worse. There's a quote by Dr. Ram in this book. He talks about how whatever is our challenge, our obstacle or heartbreak has within it seeds of equal or greater benefit. Whatever is the challenge, the heartache, the obstacle has within it seeds of equal or greater benefit. And I really feel like as a result of today's call, we'll see that. We'll feel that in a new way. I love how Jaina, first of all, Jaina, thank you so much for how you guide these Sunday Miracle calls when you're hosting. I love how she acknowledges people when they're new. It just makes me feel so good. And I see there's quite a few people who are new for the first time. I don't know, it says awakened 2007, yes, for the first time. I don't know if you'd be willing to just share how you came to be on this call and how did love guide you here? I'm so curious.
Well, actually, my name is Cindy.
Okay, good. Well, I'm so glad, Cindy, that also awakened Cindy, I like to call you maybe.
So I came to your Pulse Clinic when it was hosted by John and Katie Amodio. in Sacramento. And thank you, Katie and John and Dr. Clint. This is day, it's either 19 or 20 of the detox for me. And my partner, Robert, has been doing it with me, which is wonderful to be doing this together. And we're having a great experience. We're having a great time doing this.
What can you say what you've noticed so far? What results you've noticed so far? Or?
To be honest, Robert has noticed more things than I have. And so I'll speak on his behalf. He's still sleeping. But he has felt lighter just in his whole body, and more focused, more clarity, and more energy. And I have felt more clarity and energy also. I think there must be a really good reason why it's a 28-day rather than a 7-day, or the 7-day can, I know all the different, any amount of time can do wonderful things, but I'm changing, and it's slow, and it's okay that it's slow. Everybody's body is different, and I'm a slow person. So I'm happy to be doing this. I'm very happy to be doing this, and I'm looking forward to what still unfolds.
Ah, so beautiful, Cindy. So glad that you're here. Welcome, welcome. And Dr. Ram, he would say it this way: when people got a little bit anxious about how come miracle happens faster for someone else, how come the healing seems like it was so fast for someone else, Dr. Ram would say, well, let's say you're having a baby, because people always want to know, when does the result come from me? When does it come? And he says, well, let's say you're having a baby. How long does it take for a baby? 9 months. Okay, but what if you want the baby in 2 months? You can't just pull the baby out. Some things take time. And Dr. Ram, he would always emphasize with the ancient secrets, it's not a quick fix, actually, because there's so many different layers of healing. And so that's why I'm really excited about today, that, in today's call. And first of all, thank you, Cindy. So happy that you're here. And everyone else who's new, I want to come to you as we go on the call. We'll have you just share about why you came in some way. You can put in the chat right now. How did love guide you here? The opening quote in the book: I didn't come to teach you, I came to love you, and love will guide you. Love will teach you. I believe that you're here for a reason. And the question we wanted to start off this call today with is, there's another quote. So it says, pain is inevitable, but misery is optional. I don't know if you guys have ever heard this before. Like, inevitable in life. Like, if you have a challenge, it means you're alive. If you have no challenges, it usually means that you're in the grave. Like, it's a sign of life. So even pain, it can be in our life. I don't know anyone that's avoided it, but misery is optional. There's a book that my friend reminded me of yesterday called Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. And he talked about, he was in the Nazi Germany concentration camps as a prisoner. And he talked about the last of the human freedoms. The last of the human freedoms, he says, people had everything taken away from them. Everything taken away. Their home, their family, their clothing, everything. And he saw that there's a freedom that no one can take away. And that's your response in any situation. He said some people became more vicious than the prison guards. The prisoners became more vicious than the prison guards. And some people, they would give away their last thing of bread to someone who was more hungry. The thing that no one can take from us is our response to any circumstance, any situation that we're in. And so oftentimes I've been thinking about, what is the miracle? Is the miracle, like, you're going to hear Katie's amazing story today. It's so beautiful. You're going to hear from Sarabjit, and you hear this music that came through Vinod. Is the miracle when the result came? Or is there a miracle in the midst of the pain, something changes in our perspective that makes it so there's richness in the present moment, in the now? And so the question I want to ask everyone is this, and I want you to put in the chat or start thinking about this, because we'll go through this in the music. We'll drop into this more, but what is the gift in pain? You know, is there something in it that we can be grateful for? And I want to start with Katie, and then also Sarabjit. You could just share a little bit, your thoughts on that. Is there a gift in even pain? Is there something to be grateful for even in that? I just want to hear from you. So Katie?
Well, you mentioned the layers, and that just opened up a whole other world of thought. But as we were talking about earlier, when I was confronted with the fact that I had a chronic disease that in the Western world is kind of a life sentence. It's myalgic encephalomyelitis, chronic fatigue syndrome. And the Western world doesn't know what to do with that. And so there was a huge struggle for coming to terms with this new reality. And what came to me really by grace, I think, talk about being led by love, is that I am being healed. I am being healed. It might not be physical. It might not be in some way that I was conceiving of healing. But once I really got that, okay, this somehow is for my good. There's that thing that Dr. Naram said about in the every situation is the seed of something of equal or greater value. My attitude changed and how I saw things changed. And that was huge. Yeah. It changed everything.
That is so powerful. It's really beautiful, Katie. I'm just taking that in. Sarabjit, what about for you? I know it's a challenging question, but is there anything that you consider that we could be grateful for? We're not idolizing pain. We're not putting it on a pedestal, but what if there's something even in that experience that we can be grateful for? Sarabjit, anything that comes to your mind?
Yes, definitely. I think having gone through that for 10, 12 years, I will expand on that later, but I realized that it was there. Pain is always there as a teacher, it's our best teacher. It comes to teach us and make realize that present moment is what we should be grateful for, not what has gone by, because you can't make any changes there or what is coming in the future. But if the present, we take care of the present, the future will be taken care of.
Oh, so beautiful. I'm reading some of the comments. Janet says, pain helps me reflect on my life, my decisions, my manifestations. I'm learning to surrender to it and to my transformation. Thank you for making it the topic of the call. Much needed. And I've seen people in this community that inspire me so much. I wasn't planning on getting emotional right now, but I see people go through so much. Like even Luke is, in the comments is talking about the last, weeks of being out of commission, with COVID. And another wise woman that's in this community that sent me a message where in the midst of feeling better than ever, of following the ancient secrets for 2 years, got a test result that was shocking, and just acknowledging that shock. And then in the same message talking about, what if there's even a Titi Devo Bhava on this, just inspired me so much. And then, even our dear Carol Ray, and she just sent a message in one of the groups about her daughter, and just how difficult it is to hear someone that you love, in so much pain, spasming and screaming at the top of the lungs, and like a lot of us have been through a lot, and I don't know if something's happening on the planet right now, or especially those of us who are empaths or empathetic or can feel what other people feel, like there's a lot of pressure right now and a lot hitting us. And so just to acknowledge it and just breathe and be like, is there even a gift in this moment? I was with a friend yesterday, a dear friend, a doctor who's going through Parkinson's. He has Lyme, he has mold, so many toxicities, so many things. And he can feel it's the time of his life where there's the decay of his body, and even in this moment, he said, and he's one of the most brilliant people I've ever met and has tried every single thing he can to reverse everything. And he says, the sweetest moment isn't when I try and fight it. It's when I realize that what if even death isn't the end? What if there's as much beauty in this moment, this experience of being human as any? And what if he says, when I drop the need for this to be right or wrong, what I'm experiencing, if I drop the need, then there's such a richness to it. And I was like, that is amazing. He says, what if there's life beyond the body, first of all, and that when we reflect back, every single moment of being human is a gift. And that if we can step back into being the observer of the experience, there's such a richness. And in Katie's story today, and in what Sarabjit is doing, and in Vinod's music, I think we're going to experience that on a deeper level. So thank you for being here. Again, what if there's one ancient secret on today's call that can drop you into a space in which the miracle happens today, now, in this moment, that it's a change in perspective about this experience that we're having now is one of the most beautiful miracles. So having said that, Vinod, I want you just to unmute yourself and just in a minute or less, just share, where did this music come from? Where is this music that we're going to listen to and drop into right now? Where did this music come from?
Yes, sir. Yes, Dr. Flynn. The music, exactly, it's in 2020, I was reading the book and I just, out of curiosity, I read the book and I closed it and I kept quiet for 3-4 months. Again, I got the book and I started reading the book. And this time, it was entirely different. I was silent for 3 to 4 days, what we call Mauna Vrat, the total silence for 3 to 4 days. And then I don't know how to express gratitude, how to express, meditate on certain chapters, especially the life and death, the breathe in and breathe out. That sentence, it touched me so much. And then I don't know, I was just contemplating on that, and I don't know what to do. I was just walking. I was silent for 3 to 4 days. I was walking and sitting somewhere and contemplating on that, meditating on those words. And then I came back, sat down. My expression, my emotion, my feeling has just transformed into this form, this flow of this music. I don't know much to express about this music. This is what has exactly happened after that, after reading the second time. And the third time, what happened was I felt a kind of emptiness. I felt a kind of transcendence. After the third time reading, I went into silence for more than 4 to 5 days. And I was in the woods and I was sitting somewhere in the rocks. And I was just contemplating, what does it mean? What is it actually? The feeling, the text, and everything. I was just contemplating, and then that happened. That music you are going to listen at the end of the session. I think so. These are the 2 aspects. In between, I composed one more. That is, that is gratitude. That happened in between. So that is on the part of the music. I would like to share this thing, music project, and whoever likes it can purchase and can be beneficial to this thing, whatever the going on.
Yeah, thank you. So I want to say one thing real quick. So first of all, Vinod is part of the music project that Jerome spoke about on previous calls, where love guiding them to create music to help raise money for these orphan kids in Nepal. Now, I didn't know until today. I heard Vinod's music. I love it. It drops me into such a heart space. I didn't know until today. It was after he read the book for the second time that this music came to him. And so it's embedded with that healing energy, with the ancient secrets. And so as we're dropping into it, I want you to be, first of all, before anything, for anyone who's been through suffering or has someone they love who's suffering, like Carol Ray and her daughter, or anyone who's been through something or is in something right now, let's just rub our hands together and send them so much love. I love you and I'm with you. I love you and I'm with you. And I see you. Now, as we drop into this musical experience, drop from our heads to our hearts, I want you to challenge yourself to see if you can see everything that's happening in your life, maybe things you've resisted feeling we seek distractions or we do different things. See if you can find gratitude for even the most difficult things that are happening in your life. See in this experience, if in being present with it and finding some reason to be grateful for it, some healing can happen right now. And right before we drop into the music, Katie had a great idea, and she's actually going to lead us through the marma that's on page 78 of the book. So Katie, can you guide us through that, and then we'll go straight into the music?
Yes, absolutely. So this is the marma that's on page 78 of the book for peaceful presence and focus. And that's something that I think we all can use right now, particularly because, as you said, Dr. Clint, for some reason, this feels like kind of a heavy time. So we're just going to sit comfortably and put your left hand just gently, kindly supporting the back of your head, no pressure. We're going to close our eyes with your index finger. As you inhale, we're going to come to this point that is in between and slightly above your eyebrows, and then exhale with the finger going out, and I will count for us. We're going to do it 6 times. Okay, so close your eyes, and with your index finger coming into that point, inhale 1, exhale, inhale 2, exhale, inhale 3, release, inhale 4, and release, inhale 5, and exhale, and inhale 6, and release.
Beautiful. Thank you, Katie. I love that marma for becoming more peaceful, present, and focused. And as we go into this music that was created from the vibration of healing and ancient secrets, one of my teachers, Henry Byron, he said that you could go up to almost anyone, and instead of asking them, how are you, you could just as easily ask, where does it hurt? So I want you to be present with yourself and be gentle with yourself and see if you can get to the point of finding gratitude for even the difficulty that you're facing right now. And if you can't, then see if you can get grateful for at least the gift of existing, the gift of existence for this precious moment. And I'm going to play this music, and I'm going to actually make it so that way I'd encourage you to close your eyes, to open up your inner eyes. Dr. Ram would call this. He said, stop straining with your outer eyes, open up your inner eyes. I really like that. So in this moment, as I'm playing this music, I invite you to open your inner eyes and be present to the gift of life and the gift of you and the gift of all that is. Mm. Thank you, Vinod. That was so beautiful. I wasn't expecting for so much emotion to hit me, but I just think it's a good moment to be present. On this last week in the morning activation calls for the 30-day delicious detox, Levi came on and talked about, his beloved dog who had a lump, and he went in to see what was happening. And the doctor says, this is non-operable and your dog is going to die. And, the love between someone and their dog is like, I think, one of the most pure forms of love. And he didn't want to accept it, but he knew that he was in a state of fear. And he knew he was afraid. And someone told him that healing can't come from fear, from that emotion. I don't know if you agree with that or not, but for him, that helped him say, okay, well, what can I do differently? And he says, well, what can I be grateful for? And he couldn't think of anything to be grateful for at first. And then his story, as it unfolds, as he was homeless and helping his dog, and there's different timelines, but he said the first time he tried to be grateful for, he couldn't think of anything. He had been in prison, he was homeless, living in his car. And so it took him a long time. And then finally, after about an hour, he realized, okay, I can be grateful that I can smile. And he said that he came up with two. He's forced himself to think of three things he could be grateful for, And then finally he went to sleep. When he woke up, it was the first time in his life he heard the birds singing. First time in his life. How many times the birds sing and we never hear it, And in that moment, that sacred moment, then he started doing a gratitude journal, which then, as his dog was facing the situation, he said, okay, how can I come from a state of gratitude? How can I shift what's inside of me so I'm in a better situation to help this being that I love? And then, because love guided him, his dog couldn't even eat, so he had to use a syringe and do all kinds of things. But now it's almost 3 years later, and his dog is alive and healthy. and I just love this because there is hope. Dr. Ram says, never give up hope. And this story of Katie is such a perfect example of that. And so, Katie, first of all, I just want to say again, thank you for co-hosting this call, even to be co-hosting the call. I remember in our last pulse consultation, you said you normally would never do anything like this. What is it? Healing happens on many layers of healing. And so we'll get into like the now, but take us back in time. Take us to the moment in which it was at its worst. Or actually, first of all, the moment when you got diagnosed. Like, what was happening in your mind and emotions, and just walk us through what was life like for that 23 years of pain when you're in a wheelchair. You can't even get between rooms in your house. Just describe for us so that we can understand, if we've never been in that situation, what it was like.
Yeah, well, it took about 10 years to get a diagnosis because it's a mystery disease. Myalgic encephalomyelitis is what it's called now. It used to be chronic fatigue syndrome. So it's a process of elimination of all kinds of other things. So I had, so many tests of so many things, and I just thought I was really tired. I felt like I was coming down with something frequently. For a number of years, I was able to work. That was great. And then things just got progressively worse until in 2015, I had to stop working. I remember being in a classroom and thinking just, oh my gosh, I have to sit down right now. And somebody had to take me home. And did get the diagnosis, which kind of helped because then you can start looking for things. But Western medicine really doesn't know what to do with this particular situation. And I know there are a number of people in this community who've had Epstein-Barr and chronic fatigue and have also recovered, which is supposed to be impossible. But at my very worst, as you said, I was in a wheelchair. I was horizontal. I was either in bed or on the couch for my whole day, except for bathroom needs. I was in so much pain, just all over body pain. John would say, where does it hurt? And I'm like, well, here and here, my arms, my legs, my back, my head, my everywhere.
This is the
And
wheelchair you were using too, right?
in the house, like I had a wheelchair just to get from our bedroom to the kitchen.
And even so
Yeah.
much that your son gave you a birthday card that said Katie, wheelchair lady.
Yes. Yeah, and now I'm looking for a place to donate this magnificent motorized wheelchair. So if anybody knows of a place that takes wheelchairs, I would love to know. Yeah, Luke,
He would ask you, where does it hurt? And you'd say it hurts all over.
everywhere. I mean, there wasn't a place that didn't hurt. There wasn't a place that didn't hurt. And, you know, they always ask you on a scale of 1 to 10. I would say a 6 was my answer. And John was like, yeah, no, you know, she compares everything to childbirth, so that doesn't count. So, but, you know, so Luke, you had whatever you had for 6.5 weeks. I felt like that for years, where you are just, everything hurts, everything aches, just going so inward, like retracted from my life, and feeling like I had the flu all the time. All the time. Well, you know that feeling when you have a cold and you just have to go to bed? It felt like that. And I mean, the layers, you know, the layers that I had to be confronted with of what's my value? What's my worth? Do I have any worth? What's the point of me? I mean, I really got to the point where if I had not, okay, I'm gonna cry. If I had not promised my husband that I would never take my own life, I don't think that I would be here, you know, and my children. I mean, I stayed for my children. But I really didn't think I had any value. And so that was a huge healing, because to get to where I was completely dependent on John and had to be vulnerable in ways that I never would have been willing to have been vulnerable for, that was an amazing healing. You know, I would not wish it on anyone. I hope everyone has a much easier journey than I do to get to the place of knowing that they are loved just for being who they are. But apparently I had to go through that. So yeah.
You know, one of the most beautiful miracles, I think, in fact, I was just speaking to a woman who had drove all the way to LA to see me for a pulse consultation, and then I saw her later, and you know, she said that the biggest transformation that happened for me wasn't on a health level, but it's that I want to live now. You know, I want to live. And I just thought that was like so beautiful. And so, you know, talk about in the midst of that pain you're describing, in the midst of not being able to do the things you love, like gardening, like art, like walking between the rooms of your home, like feeding yourself, in which your husband is taking care of you all the time. How in that space did you have the presence of mind to say, you know, there must be some gift in this. There must be some healing in this for me. How did that happen? Can you describe that? Because that is just so remarkable to me.
Well, I think grace, and I'm really stubborn. I'm a really, really stubborn person. And I got it a long, long time ago that kind of the point of being here was to be able to heal and not pass on whatever was toxic, and to be as loving a presence as possible. And I don't know, I mean, really grace.
You know, when you first came, first of all, I want to make sure on each of these Sunday calls, people have practical things you can walk away with. So if you or someone you love is in the same situation or similar situation or any kind of situation in which there's the pain, what can you do about it? So this situation lasted for 23 years. That's a long time. And you tried many things. And it must have been like equally disappointing when each thing didn't work or it didn't help your situation, in which your hopes would get up and then they'd be crushed, you know, and this kind of a wave was happening. And then for me also, your story is so much a love story. It's so much to see how much John loves you and how much you love him. And somehow this situation bonded you in a way that I think is like stronger than any steel, stronger than anything on this planet, because it's like that love is so clearly unstoppable. Now, can you describe when you found out about the ancient secrets? What was your thought? What was John's thought? And then as you're sharing, what did you do that helped? How did you get from there to here? I specifically for anyone listening to this, pay attention to anything, not only that she says, but maybe in this particular case, love will teach you something. So listen with your heart open as Katie shares what happened to see the result from where she was to where she is now.
Well, very dear friends of ours were in Mexico and met you and emailed us to say, you guys, there's this guy, Clint Rogers, and he really helped Claire. She went out hiking today, and which she had been in a lot of pain, and kind of commanded Clint to help her because that's what Claire does. Claire is Denny Dakin's daughter, if people know who Denny is. So told us about that you had written this book. So I'm like, okay, fine, I'll get this book. So I got the book, and then they let John know that you were doing a pulse clinic in Sacramento. And so John made an appointment, and Clint, as you know, it was a good thing that John made the appointment because it was $150 for 15 minutes. And if I had known that, I would have said no, because there were so many. I tried everything. I was a patient at the Stanford Chronic Fatigue Clinic, which is supposed to be like, the place. And people are like, have you tried keto? Have you tried yoga? Have you tried all of the things? Like, yeah, I've tried all the things. So here's another thing to try. And, but, we signed up, so we went, and I remember, like, I had about this much of a yes when walking up that driveway to see you. I was like, okay, that here's another thing. But as soon as we made eye contact, my whole nervous system calmed down, and I just felt like, okay, this is like, there's something really here. And we went in, you asked me what I want, and you read my pulses, and you looked in my eyes, and you said, it's possible. It's possible. It will take time, but it's possible. And I believed you. There was just I just felt this complete trust. And so, I had hope. I had hope for the first time. I'd been let down so many times, even at the Stanford Chronic Fatigue Clinic, they said, oh yeah, we can help you. And then the things that they had to offer did not help. What you had to offer helped. And you had me do the 28-day detox with the
First of all, I want to say this, one practical takeaway, Dr. Ram, he says, it's so interesting. This is a part of the healing process for deeper healing, but it's asking people, what do you want?
Yeah.
What do you want? And so many of the time when we're suffering, pain versus misery. Misery is when we're usually focused on what we don't want and we think there's no way out of it. But just by asking that question and redirecting our minds, and do you remember what you said you wanted, Katie? Because I think it's so beautiful.
I said that I wanted to be able to be an integral part of my grandchildren's lives. My children aren't married. They don't have children yet, but that's the future. That's what I want. I wanted to be healthy enough and have the energy to really be an everyday part of their lives.
Yeah.
I wanted to be able, go ahead.
Oh, no, please.
To love bomb my mom was another relationship that needed some help. And I wanted to be able to make John cookies, because every Christmas I make Christmas cookies, and I hadn't been able to do that for many, many years. And I just wanted to be able to do that for him.
Here she is. She's for 23 years, she hasn't been able to do things that she loved. Gardening was difficult. Doing art was difficult. Spending time with her kids. And her husband, John, he's actually a warrior for planet Earth. He wants to preserve the planet and do things. That's why him and Claire and Mark became such good friends is because they're all doing stuff that's good for our future generations. And so being outside a lot, Katie found it difficult. She couldn't be outside, couldn't hike. They couldn't do the things they loved. And so to focus on what do you want and to have hope in that moment, then you had a consultation. Do you remember the Ayush Shakti Vaidya that you spoke with at the beginning after my post consultation? Or was it Dr. Stephen? I can't remember who I had you speak with about the diet.
Dr. Stephen.
Yeah. So Dr.
Yeah.
Stephen, I know you're on this
he was
call too.
fabulous.
Thank you so much for starting that process. You did the detox. And can you share the timing for you, how it worked out, and then the thought process and things like this? And I want people to understand it's not instantaneous and it's not a smooth up. Just share a little bit more about what happened for you.
Well, within 2 weeks, the pain was gone. I mean, the pain was gone. I couldn't believe it. I didn't even tell John for another week because I just was like, I think I'm psyching myself out. Like, is this real? Is this gonna last? And it's real. I mean, it was amazing. But the getting my energy back, I'm not 100%. I'd say I'm 85%, which is miraculous. I mean, shake the tambourines. I mean, it's just amazing to have my life back. It took some time, but so that was February of 2021. And in August, we went to see our kids. Our son was in Idaho and our daughter is in Montana. And we went to go see them. And when we were in Montana, I remember emailing you because, I emailed you right away after I walked a mile. We were in tears. That was something that I never, ever thought would be possible again. And then there's that photo. This was in October. We hiked 6.5 miles with 1,000 feet of elevation change. I mean, it's just, look where we were. We were in Glacier National Park, and that's my daughter next to me and my son and her boyfriend, who is clearly not of our gene pool.
What's beautiful is that in the midst of the pain, you said yes. You said yes to the pulse consultation. Then you said yes to changing your diet. You said yes to taking the herbs. Now, I want to add a caveat because everyone's story is different. So just because for her, the pain went away in 2 weeks, it doesn't mean that will happen for everyone. We all have our own journey. And for some of us, the teacher of pain lasts longer, but it doesn't mean that it isn't working. There's so many different layers. And in Katie's story, Dr. He says that something like 80% of even our physical illness is due to unresolved emotional trauma when we were kids or when we're younger or in previous time. And so in addition to detoxing her body, she was also detoxing her mind and emotions in a really powerful way. And the result of it wasn't only mobility with her body, but capacity to do things that she hasn't done in a long time. Like she hosted a clinic. It was so beautiful. And then the contagious healing went forward. And there's John, who is so beautiful, and Bethany, and also Poonam was with us. Then she's helping with the cookbook that's about to be released that Carol Ray has put so much love into. And on so many levels, just showing up not only physically differently, but mentally, emotionally more unstoppable than ever. And I just want to acknowledge that, Katie, and say thank you so much for that beautiful example of what's possible when you let love guide you, when you say yes, instead of to the fear or to the doubts, when you say yes to what your heart is guiding you to, and patience. 23 years of patience is a long time. She was ready for it. It was ripe. So I want to say, as we're sharing this, and then there's herbs, there's home remedies, there's so many things, but because it's individualized, if anyone for themselves or for someone you love, you want a personalized understanding of how to apply the ancient secrets, we'll put the link where you can book a consultation with one of the very competent doctors in India, the Vaidyas in Ayush Shakti. And even if you have had an appointment with them in the past, it's good to check in and say, this is where I'm at. And then we can adjust. Dr. Am, he would say, after 6 months, when we see people's pulse, we know, okay, here's how your body's responding. Here's what we do. And then you make the adjustments. So I just highly encourage, if anyone's in that situation, to not lose hope and to find out where is the yes in you. Katie, any other tips or something that you'd share that would help people who are in the midst of pain right now?
Yeah. So one thing I just want to mention before that is I was with a friend yesterday. I went to the winter fair at the school where I used to work. And the last time I was there, I was in a wheelchair. And to be there this time and have people kind of, oh my gosh, you're up, you're out. I asked a friend of mine what she remembered from at my worst. And she said, I remember that you had to limit your laughter. Like I had to keep my heart rate down. I had to limit my laughter. And with the layers of healing in your, the saying yes, the deepest heal. I'm so thankful for the physical healing. I mean, that's beyond words, gratitude. But the emotional healing, I've always felt that and believed that we come from and will return to love, that we are love. I could believe that about everybody else, but couldn't really, it's cracking open. And so that's where the yeses are coming from, is that I am finally at 64 starting to really love myself and to love who I am. And I don't even know the words to say thank you for that. Yeah.
So beautiful. It's also poignant for me in this moment. It's because you came through Claire, and then her mom is the one that the Ancient Secrets community did in their first 100-day course. We volunteered and we captured her wisdom, the wisdom of this woman who was in an orphanage, and in the orphanage, the most unspeakable physical, mental, sexual abuse happened. The kind of thing where you could be a victim your whole life and feel justified. And instead of being a victim, she said, no. She got to the point where she realized that she could even thank those who had abused her, something so unthinkable. And the book that the community helped put together is called Love is the Only Truth, which we're in the final stages of releasing. Hopefully before Christmas, we'll have it ready. But I want to thank you that you're a living example of that as well. So thank you so much, Katie. Thank you for choosing love. Thank you for choosing to love yourself and for applying these ancient secrets in such a way that it gives hope to so many of us in a way of contagious healing. Like I love Cindy's on this call. I love the healing that came through John. He says that his arthritis is basically gone, so he can go river rafting and bike riding. At the clinic, he was helping make so much of the Hmong soup. In fact, he was the sous chef for my mom. My mom came and was in charge of the Hmong soup. He's like, yeah, I can do this because my arthritis pain is gone. It was so beautiful. So thank you, Katie. Thank you for choosing love. Now we're trying to keep these Sunday miracle calls to 1 hour. And I want to do this. I want to transition now. We have a real special community spotlight of someone who's shown up with so much love. And I want to just make sure we spotlight her in a beautiful way and hear her story. So Katie, I'm going to allow you to interview Sarabjit about this amazing award and some of the things she's doing. Sarabjit, would you like to share some of your powerful story?
Yes, namaste, everybody. Yeah, sure. Well, as you have been talking about pain, I thought I was not going to share that, but every, moment as I was reading this, there is on page 4, no matter how big the problem or difficulty, never give up hope. So this is how I never gave up hope, because from 2007 to 2018, 10 years, there was just a lot of pain in my life. I was connected with my husband who was going through Alzheimer's, and there was a lot of pain. I was the caregiver. So 40% of, caregivers sometimes don't even survive, what I went through. But through all that, I did have hope, so there was hope. I was searching, and I connected on the YouTube videos through with Dr. Naram. That's how I got connected. And then, I wanted to meet him, but he wasn't around. So I sent emails. I didn't get a reply. I subscribed to their newsletter. It didn't happen. But then when the reply came, it was maybe too late for my husband, but I got connected because when he passed away in 2018, but in 2019, I think after Dr. Naram passed away, from Dr. Clint, I got this letter, that if you would be like to be part of this community. And I said, yes, and that's how I got connected, So through this pain, I got this community, and this, I think the healing came for me through this community and all the work that I did over here. I'm just the first brainstorming that Dr. Clint had, I joined that, and I said, yes, I will try to do whatever talent or I can share, over here. So that's how I got connected with you guys.
Sarabjit, in the midst of the challenge, in fact, one of my favorite pictures from when the book launch happened was where you sent a picture of your mother, who was over between 80, 90 years old, holding the book. And then she said,
94.
She said yes to being part of the Miracle Dream Team, and then said yes to being part of the leadership team, and then said yes to helping create in the Ancient Secrets Foundation store just the most beautiful things where people can get as gifts using the talent or the gift of artwork. Oh, sorry, this is the page for the 100-day course, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But in the ancientsecretsfoundation.org store, this part here, the art project, the music project, all of this is because basically Sarabjit said yes to love. And then inside of here, you can find so many, oh, sorry about that. I wanted to go to the art project here. You can find so many things that are, in fact, my mom, when she makes the immunity drink to help boost my immunity, she makes it in this mug here. I don't know if you can see this, but this is my Aditi Devo Bawa mug. This is one of the beautiful things. Now, on top of that, as a part of the last miracle experiment experience,
yes,
you had some inspiration, and then some beautiful thing happened. Can you share about that? And I'll pull up the picture in the video.
Yes, I've been taking part. This was my third miracle experiment game that I participated in. And each time I have had some break to the other. The second one, which was in summer, first of all, I want to touch base on that one. There was my mom, she had a stroke at 94. She had a brain stroke. And it was like, I felt like she need to meet my brother, before that I was thinking, before she leaves this, she has to make amends. I mean, she said that she doesn't have anything in her heart, but I wanted her to meet, and my brother wouldn't have come. He lives in Canada. So she had a stroke. So that became the reason for everybody to come and see her. So I think that was during the miracle experiment game only this was happening, and I said, Atiti Devo Bhava, but this was what was coming through, that, everybody came, the whole family came to meet her. So that was resolved. So I mean, my wish came true for that. And then there was some financial thing. I was thinking, well, like something happens, then I may not have cash or something, and next day, I just had to think about it. Next day, there was a call from the thing, and I got 6-figure amount that give us your thing, and it was like my husband had invested in something, and it just came through during that time. Can you imagine 6-figure amount? So that was during the second miracle game, and so I was so blown away by that. And then everything was taken care of, and I was happy. And then now the third one that I was doing this, I had, always art has been my life. It has been my meditation and my savior throughout my life, through the pain and everything. So I just applied for this before the miracle game. I had applied for this San Francisco. It is really the best, I think, all over America. This, art project, they do this every year. I didn't know about it. I just came to know about it. I applied for it. A heart they make, for the foundation of San Francisco Hospital, where the funds go to their hospital. And applied for it. They chose my design. And even though there are 3 different sizes, mine is a mini. And I will show you in a moment the actual heart also. Yeah, this is the one. And I got to get, during this third miracle game, And in the first week only, they said, yes, we've selected your design. So it came through, this project came through. And there were many other small things that were happening during this third game. Also, as I said, I made a rock garden and there were special types of rocks that I didn't have. And there was a neighbor right next to me, you know, she had so many extra ones. She says, I think she put a notice if anybody wants. So I got the benefit of those to build my rock garden also. So here is the actual one. And this took about 200 hours to finish. And you can see, because I wrote love in all the ways with a calligraphy pen, you know, and I resined it. And this is 24 karat gold over here. So it took me a lot of time, but this is going to be auctioned off and in February during Valentine's Day. And it will benefit the hospital and whatever projects that they are doing. And this is one of the 10 limited edition hearts. So I'm lucky.
So beautiful. Sarabjit said yes to
Yes.
serving, yes to letting love guide her, not only by using her gift of art to create all these amazing t-shirts and tote bags and everything that the revenue from goes to benefit the orphan kids, but also using her talents to win this competition during the miracle experiment game.
Yes.
And in addition, I also want to say she said yes to being part of the Golden Angel Council, which we'll talk more about. We've been working so hard to get logistics and all kinds of everything structure in place so that way we can launch the Golden Angel Council properly next year. And if you have someone you want to volunteer to join that, please continue to send. We're still creating the invitations for everyone who's a part of it. But I want to say thank you, Sarabjit. Thank you for letting love guide you. Thank you, Katie, for letting love guide you. Thank you, Vinod. Actually, I'm just going to bring up each of these people on the screen right now. Thank you, Vinod, for letting love guide you as well. And I promised that this Global Healing Miracle Call would be an hour. And so what we want to do is complete this section of it in the way that we do, where we put our hands together. And then immediately after that, actually right before this, I just want to say that another thing Sarabjit has done in the art project, we're going to have for the upcoming Unstoppable Celebration, which is in June. It's an event where we're all going to gather as a community. Many of you have talents that we can feature, like art or like music, like Vinod and Jerem have been working on. And so we'll talk more about that on future calls, but I just wanted to bookmark that. And then also say that December 11th is the last day for the early bird discount of the 100-day course. We just released a new video, which with people I love in it, talking about their transformation. If you love anyone and you want them to have a deeper experience of the ancient secrets, then that is a powerful gift, or just to let them know it exists. It may be the last time that we ever offer it. And so I personally am guiding people through that 3-month experience. And so we'll make sure that you have those links. Maybe Andrea, you can put that for the Unstoppable and for that. We have some people, one of the most powerful things about these calls is the breakout rooms. So after we say, I love you and I'm with you, for anyone who needs to leave, you're welcome to. For those who can stay, we're going to play a little more music from Vinod and then go into breakout rooms where you can discuss. Katie, what is the discussion topic for that breakout room?
The question is, that came to me in meditation. This just blows my mind how these meetings happen. The question was, what can you say thank you to yourself for saying yes to?
Yeah, what can you say thank you to yourself for saying yes to? She was so grateful she said yes to going for the pulse consultation. You know, what can you say thank you to yourself for saying yes to? So in the breakout room, we'll have a chance to discuss that, and magic will happen in that. If you have time, then that's beautiful. But for right now, for anyone who is on this call, for anyone who you're connected with, who's suffering for the whatever is we're going through collectively as humans on planet Earth, let's put our hands together, feel that warmth. Oh, and then go ahead, you can unmute yourself and say, I love you and I'm with you. I love you.
I love you and I'm with you. I love you and I'm with you.
I love you and I'm with you.
Sarabjit,
And I am with
give
you.
it out.
I'm with you.
Love you, Jane. I love you.
Love you and I'm with you.
Al,
Love you and I'm with you.
Francis, love you, Joseph, love you,
Love
Jeremy,
you
love you,
and I'm
Beverly,
with you
love
so
you, Mary.
much.
Love you and I'm with
you.
you, Emma. Love you, son.
Love you and I'm
Love you.
So beautiful. Thank you so much. Big thank you to Katie, to Sarabjit. Big thank you to Michael Smith for helping co-host the technology. Thank you to Vinod. If you're new on this call, I also want to make it so that there's a possibility for you to share. So one of the breakout rooms, if you're new, you can come into that breakout room, or you can stay in this part with me. I just want to say I love you. I'm with you. Thank you for showing up today. Now, if you need to leave, we send you with love. For those who can stay, we're going to drop in one more time into a second musical piece from Vinod and then go into the breakout room. And the breakout room, actually, you know what I'll do is I'll switch the order of that. Actually, no, you know what? I'm just feeling into it. Vinod, is it okay if we save that piece for a future call? It's such a powerful piece, and I want to make sure we're proper for that. Is it okay if we share it for a future call? Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Good. So what we'll do is we'll go straight into the breakout rooms. For those watching on Facebook Live, thank you. And for those watching the recording, thank you. Find someone in your life to express gratitude for and share with them what's one thing you can thank yourself for saying yes to. So those in the Facebook Live world, we're going to say we love you, we're with you. We're also going to pause this recording right now.